and welcome back to the Gold Jockey Podcast, a proud member of the True North Fantasy Network. I'm your host, Jim Nastic at Gold Jockey QBs, and as always, my co-host Connor Donald at Connor10. Connor, how you been, man?
I've been great. I have missed so much talking about fantasy football, but you're busy selling your house. I have a newborn in the house. I'm trying not to wake them up. They're sleeping next door right now. So I am so pumped to be talking fantasy football again.
Yeah, man, I feel like I've been saying I've been getting ready to sell my house for the last well, since we've really started the show, so 2 months, but we put it up yesterday, and we've had one, two, three, four viewings already. We had one before it was even listed, so
It's a good market. If you want to move to Canada, it's a good market.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, with that, let's jump into it tonight, man. We got a new segment, pretty pumped about. It's called Going Bananas. Connor, man, you want to tell the guys, tell the viewers what that's about?
We are absolutely pumped for this because we just locked down a partnership with Monkey Knife Fight. That's at MKF on Twitter. And this we are so excited for this because we are it's so cool, the idea of being partnered with them. But we are going to basically go over one of the games that they have because they have a number of games, they have a number of contests out there with the props that they have. And I believe we're looking at Thursday night football, and we are looking at Baker Mayfield, the disappointment of quarterbacks all around, and Joe Burrow, someone who definitely impressed me last week after we talked down to him over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
The weeks leading up to this, we really said we're all about Tua, and yeah, needless to say, Joe Burrow definitely looked good, definitely. So
yeah,
let's definitely dive into this. I know you got money on this, so I want to help you win some money, Jim.
yeah. So yeah, I'm going bananas of over the more or less contest, and I am definitely taking Baker Mayfield less than 262.5 yards, and I'm taking Joe Burrow more than 239.5 with a 3-to-1 ratio payout.
I can definitely see the Baker Mayfield being lower because Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, just everybody is just like I can't get behind the Cleveland Browns, and on Thursday night football, even less can I get behind it. And I mean, what is it, 260?
262.5.
262.5, like that's tough. Like man, I hate one of the worst things about fantasy football is picking whether to start someone on a Thursday night or whether not to start someone on a Thursday night based solely on that fact that it's a Thursday night football game. Um so I mean, I'm 100% on board with that pick that you made, and we've discussed it in the group chat that I'm 100% on board with that, and I'm buying into the Joe Burrow hype slowly because he's got the weapons. He's got some wicked weapons out there. He had a decent game. That Tyler Boyd disappointed, and I have him in a lot of leagues, so that was kind of frustrating. But I mean, you have to remember that there was no preseason, and that's the big thing. We were talking about this before we went on the air about the Buccaneers and everyone basically putting them in the Super Bowl. But you have to remember that there's got to be a build to that. And it's the same with Cincinnati. You're looking at like Joe Burrow, a rookie quarterback coming in, and literally he has never played an NFL snap. He never got the opportunity to play in the preseason. And now he's getting the chance to play. And he looked good last week. And I think he's going to continue to get better and to look better. And that number I find is too low for Joe Burrow. But I do find the number too high for Baker Mayfield because I'm starting to lose faith in this Cleveland Browns team, because when you look at the Cleveland Browns, they have some consistency. They had Baker Mayfield. They had Kareem Hunt. They had Nick Chubb. They had Jarvis Landry. They had all these weapons last season. So there is that continuity where there isn't with the Cincinnati Bengals. but I'm definitely behind Joe Burrow on this Thursday night game, whereas I'm not with Baker Mayfield. What was your reasoning behind it?
Well, I'll be first to say that I was looking definitely wrong on Joe Burrow. 1 year wonder is what I believe I called him in college.
Mhm.
I said he had lack of production up until that 60 touchdown season. I said he couldn't beat out Dwayne Haskins. I said he couldn't beat out a number of other quarterbacks. I openly said it. Um, but on Sunday, he looked poised. He looked like a veteran. He marched him down when he needed to, when the game was on the line. He put the team in a position to win. They should have won. We all know what happened. Randy Bullock shanked it and then grabbed a right calf and then claimed that his left calf hurt the next day at practice. But the kid looked good. Kid looked poised.
But
Uh,
don't get me wrong. Before we do this, I'm not walking back my statement. Tua is the QB1 of this draft class.
no,
It's
absolutely.
just
I do
they're
think Tua's
taking their
been.
precautions with Tua, and I 100% understand taking those precautions with Tua. And you have Ryan Fitzpatrick. You saw what Ryan Fitzpatrick did last year. Why rush Tua when you're not in a win now mode? There's no need to
I'm
rush
not
the guy.
saying Burrow is better than Tua. I'm not retracting those statements at all. I am retracting the statements that I thought Burrow was going to bust. I didn't think you were going to see a good Joe Burrow in the NFL. I thought he was going to get picked apart. I didn't think he was going to be able to read the defense as good. I didn't think the 1 year production was there. Like was enough to get behind. I'm walking that back. That is what I'm walking back. I think the Bengals might have
Mhm.
found a very good quarterback. Again, it's one week. It's not anything to overreact about, but as of right now, he's making me definitely look like I'm going to be eating some crow on that. He looked poised, plain and simple. I don't believe really in the Chicago, or sorry, in the Cleveland organization as a whole. I was told earlier when we were talking about it, not with you, but like Cleveland does have a good defense. I said, sure they do, absolutely. I go, but I think Cincinnati's going to be throwing it. I don't think this game's going to be a smash. You know what I mean? Like 25 points over, and now they're running the ball. I think they're going to be throwing the ball, and I think Burrow looked accurate. Baker didn't. Baker looked nervous. Baker looked rattled. Baker didn't look like he's been in the NFL for a couple years. Didn't, and he
Mhm.
has. It was very worrisome to me. I
Yeah,
think
and
maybe the
I
best
don't.
Baker we saw was the last 6 games of his rookie season.
Yeah, and I definitely don't buy into the what I love Jarvis Landry. I do, and I stand behind it. I believe Odell Beckham Jr. is overrated, and I'm going to stand behind that statement because we're looking at a guy who hasn't had anything in what, like 3 years, and people continue to draft him in the top 10 and believe as if he's a top 10 quarterback or even or a top 10 wide receiver, sorry, or even better than that. Like there's some people who are still buying into this hype like he's going to return to that player. And I saw like I can't remember the stat right off the top of my head, but he's the 67th ranked, and I don't buy fully on PFF, but he's the 67th ranked wide receiver on PFF in the last like 2 years since like Baker Mayfield entered the league. So Baker's not using him correctly, or he's not playing correctly, or he's not the OBJ that was in New York. I don't know what it is, but the weapons are not fully there, but they should be. These are some crazy weapons. These are some amazing weapons that he has in place. And most quarterbacks would. I'm an Eagles fan, and Carson Wentz would give for OBJ and Jarvis Landry as his wide
Oh
receiving
man.
core.
I like
So,
to
I
think you
mean,
give for the 1-2 punch of I mean Miles Sanders is good, but I think any quarterback would like the 1-2 punch of Chubb and Hunt with Landry and OBJ, right?
100%. Mhm.
And Austin Hooper. Like who wouldn't like that? I just named five potential or five potential top five in their position.
Definitely. No, I completely agree. And I mean, we've seen like it's just I've never seen a quarterback with an ineptitude to hit these weapons and to deliver with these types of weapons. And it frustrates me to watch Baker Mayfield do that. It almost frustrates me as much as watching Saquon Barkley going to waste with the New York Giants. That is almost how frustrating it is. But it's like Saquon Barkley there. Here, there's two wide receivers, two running backs. There's a tight end. Like there are so many viable options, and the fact that we're picking the under on 260 yards or 260-ish yards for Baker Mayfield, it hurts. It's pretty sad that we have to pick the under when we're
Well,
naming these weapons.
I'll let you. I mean, it doesn't bode well for the over on Burrow, but I'll let you go ahead and look on week one what the yardage totals for those two quarterbacks were. I
You
took a
want
look.
me?
I was shocked when I looked at it. I was shocked. I definitely thought Burrow threw for more than what he did on Sunday.
Well, Baker Mayfield threw for 189 against a crazy Ravens defense. So first of all, the Ravens defense is.
I thought he threw more. I thought Baker threw less than 189 on Sunday, is what I'm saying. Like I thought Baker threw less than 189 to begin with, and I thought Burrow threw more. What did he end up throwing?
He threw 193. He didn't even throw a touchdown pass.
I know, but he ran one in.
He did run one in. He did run one in. But like that, it's just for me. It's a whole different ball game. Like man, there's something about Thursday nights. They're an animal.
I
They're
thought he hit over
definitely.
200. That was me. I like it though. It's a division game. It's a Thursday nighter.
And I
It's the
mean, I
bright
know, like,
lights.
I guess for the Browns, don't take too much into it because it was against the Ravens, it was against the Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP of the league. But the Browns are fifth worst against QBs after 1 week, and Lamar Jackson, a guy who's not really necessarily known to throw incredibly well, and people want to see him throw more, threw 3 touchdowns on this Cleveland Browns defense. So to believe that Joe Burrow can't put up obviously his first couple of touchdowns this year against this defense, I
So like
definitely can see it happening.
odd and Tate.
Maybe, maybe.
Odd and Tate
Man,
from Florida
I
State
need to
grabs the
see
first
those.
one.
I need to see those Boyd shares start to pay off. One hundred
Oh
percent,
yeah.
got to see
I'm
those
just saying
Boyd
he
shares
can
start
boy
to
can
pay
catch
off.
2 and 3, but I
And
think
I
the
can
first one,
and I can see AJ Green getting in there too. Like there's some good weapons. There's some legit weapons for Joe Burrow, and it's about figuring out who's the favorite, who's the one that
CJ
you want.
Uzma.
Maybe not that. But maybe not that.
I
But
was
yeah,
told a good tight end is a young QB's best friend. I'm not
definitely.
sure I 100% believe it, but
Well, I mean, you look at a Carson Wentz with Zach Ertz and Dallas
hey, that's a
Goddard. It's
way
there.
different
It's
level than
there.
CJ Uzma.
It
You just
definitely.
named two great tight ends, and then CJ Uzma is like tight end maybe 12.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that. I can see that. I mean, we're talking completely like apples to oranges here, but yeah, I like the picks you have, and I'm definitely going with those picks. I think those can definitely pay out 100%.
Love it. I love
But
it.
we'll take a quick second to talk about Viridian Global, our brand new provider of all the wear that the podcasters wear. If you want to wear a gold jacket just like the Pro Football Hall of Famers do, well, we can't give you that. But we can give you the next best thing, which is gold jacket podcast gear. Viridian Global is providing the gold standard for gear that the podcasters wear. You can get t-shirts, sweaters, baseball shirts. Find it all at truenorthffb.com/shop for the closest thing to a gold jacket you will get without Canton. Also, follow Viridian at Viridian Global, VERIDIAN, on Twitter for all the latest apparel news, catalog, and launches.
Fantastic. With
100%.
that, let's talk about another segment called Gold or Fool's Gold. And that's where we're going to talk about an option that maybe has been doing good week one. Might want to play him. We just don't think it's a good matchup. That'll be your Fool's Gold. Looks good. We don't think he's going to produce for you. And we got the gold. We think, obviously, going to produce for you.
100%.
All
So
right.
let's get this started. Who do you got as your gold QB?
For Thursday, I have Joe Burrow. He is my goal QB.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think we
think
really need to
the
talk about it
monkey
too much.
yeah, the monkey knife fight did
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
put it out there. But I'm definitely going. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's Joe Burrow's gold. The fool's gold is Baker Mayfield. And until Baker Mayfield can put together more than one game or two games, of for me, he's fool's gold for me because he's got the weapons. He's just not producing.
absolutely. Um, all right.
What about the running back on Thursday night? Who you
My
buying?
gold, Kareem Hunt. I love it. He has been the running back that has outscored out of the two since the suspension more times than Nick Chubb. But what I'm not dismissing Chubb, but what I do like was that it was on a near perfect split of the snaps. I think it was 50-50, almost identical between the two. Just
Mhm.
I believe more in Kareem Hunt. I believe more in what he can do with the ball in his hands. I think he's just a little bit more dynamic.
100%.
Uh,
I can definitely see it there. Kareem Hunt is taken away from Nick Chubb way more than Chubb owners would like to see. That's because Nick Chubb he runs the ball, but he's not necessarily a big play waiting to happen. Kareem Hunt is a big play waiting to happen, whether he's running the ball or whether he's catching the ball. He can do both. And I think that the split's always going to be there. They didn't just lock him down. He's going 3 years now with
yep.
Clayton, and they didn't lock him down literally to do nothing.
And I caught a lot of flack. I had him, I believe, RB8 in PPR. I caught a lot of flack for it. I think they're going to be playing from behind a fucking lot, man. And he's the
100%.
one that I'm sorry, and the even splits, whatever, even snaps can be whatever. And Nick Chubb can catch a ball, but they utilize Kareem Hunt that way. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you can do it; it's what they utilize him to do, and that's what they utilize Kareem Hunt more than Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
So
I definitely agree with that. Like if you're looking at PPR, you want to get those Kareem Hunt shares over those Nick Chubb shares. I could definitely agree with that. I think for me though, my gold is probably going to be Joe Mixon. I still think that Joe Mixon's going to continue to emerge. He's going to continue to play incredibly well behind Joe Burrow, and I think Joe Burrow's creating a far better quarterback to be beside than Andy Dalton was, or than whoever it was last season. The backup that they rolled with. Um,
wasn't it
I think
Finley?
yeah, it was Finley. It was Ryan Finley. So yeah, I'm going with Joe Mixon on this one because I can definitely buy into Joe Mixon. And based on the thrown performance, I do still think that he hits on your monkey knife fight. But I do think that on Thursday nights, I definitely love a running back over a wide receiver.
There you go. Who do you got as your gold wide receiver?
I'm going Jarvis Landry. I love Jarvis Landry, and if there's somebody that Baker's gonna throw to, and that Baker's gonna trust, and that Baker's gonna like, it's Jarvis Landry, and he has shown that in the last couple years that he has faith in Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry is one of the most underrated wide receivers that there is out there, and I still think there's some adjustment to for Joe Burrow and who he's getting comfortable with. And there's three or four very viable wide receivers there, but I think there's some work to be done to find who that true relationship is going to be with.
I love it because my gold is Jarvis Landry as well. I know maybe you're thinking, or maybe some people might be thinking, how can you have Baker as the fool's gold and Jarvis? Well, because just Jarvis being good is not good enough for a quarterback to just be successful. He needs OBJ to hit and well, other options. But uh, I
Mhm.
don't, I don't think it all hits. But he's efficient. Jarvis Landry with the ball in his hands, he catches what is thrown to him, and he's just overall efficient. So I like him, especially in PPR. He's good for at least I'd say 5 or 6 catches, 60, 70 yards, maybe a touchdown.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I can definitely see it, and I would definitely like to see it because I have him in a lot of leagues as well. But I just Jarvis Landry's the most consistent receiver, the most confident receiver there. So I can get behind Jarvis Landry every day, all year. But now for the tight ends, I almost want to skip it. I almost want to skip it because without David Njoku, I don't think there's a tight end that's gold. And I don't think there's even one that's really fool's gold, in my opinion, because I don't think the tight ends are going to be utilized enough to even be fantasy relevant.
You don't think Hooper's going to be fool's gold? I don't think a lot of people are now with Njoku out of the way going to be thinking that's the target share. That's the guy now, like the stepping stone. They didn't even think Njoku was in the way to begin with, and apparently week one showed he was.
Yeah, I can definitely see the fool's gold. I don't think there's any gold to be had in this
No,
tight
neither
end
do I.
matchup, but from the fool's gold perspective, I can see Hooper, and I can see people reacting to Hooper being like, "Oh, Hooper's going to get some grabs." We're already talking about the issues with the weapons for Baker Mayfield, so the fool's gold makes 100% accurate sense for Austin Hooper.
Love it. I love it. So let's move. So that pretty much wraps up Thursday night. With that, let's run our gold and fool's goal for Sunday game then.
Yeah, we're gonna basically do what our gold and fool's gold is at each position. So for me, the QB, the gold, Dak Prescott, man, you are playing a pretty pathetic Atlanta Falcons defense. And you look at the weapons that he has. I get the Blake Jarwin injury, whatever. He's gone, he's out, whatever. But you got CD Lamb, you got Amari Cooper, you got Michael Gallup, you got Zeke, you got Tony Pollard. He's gonna have a day because no matter what, that Atlanta, I respect the hell out of Matt Ryan in that passing game, but I cannot get behind that defense one bit.
Does it make you sick to say that as an Eagles fan?
Listen, I've said it before, I've said it many times now.
Yeah, I know.
Dak Prescott is a great fantasy asset with the weapons that he has, but I will never say that he is a good NFL quarterback.
You love the fantasy assets in your division, eh? You love those QBs, Haskins, Dak, Wentz.
Mhm. Haskins, not yet, not yet. Calm
You
down.
like the
I did say Haskins will get there though.
I like Haskins.
Yep. So who do
Now,
you got for gold QB?
it's Russell Wilson. Uh,
Mr.
you see,
Unlimited.
yeah, Mr. Unlimited. You seen it finally. That you finally seen him cook, right? Like as the kids have been saying, I guess. He was 31 for 35. He's showing you exactly what he's always been, which is wildly efficient. Everyone keeps saying his efficiency numbers are going to come down. They gotta come down. When they do, they don't really come down that much. Like,
Mhm. No,
oh man,
and like the mobility, man, the mobility. I love a mobile quarterback, and
yeah,
he
he
is
rushed a few
king of
times.
mobility. And
Loved it.
he can make plays happen with his feet and like yeah, no, I can definitely get behind him. I'm just getting behind Dak because that defense in Atlanta, ah, gross, gross.
Yeah, I get it. Um, I don't know. I'm interested to see that this week's matchup against New England, right? You're gonna see Mr. Unlimited and Superman gonna battle it out, man. Those it's gonna be fun.
And those are two that you can definitely maybe consider as gold options because
Those are
Cam
two
Newton's
that I have in
willing to
a
create.
lot of leagues.
Yeah, and I can definitely get behind that. Um, for me, from the running back gold, it's Derrick Henry, man. You were playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. They literally sold the farm. And last week they were the worst team against the run, and it was literally because of the passing to the running backs. So for me, 100% Derrick Henry, and I don't even like Derrick Henry that much, but I'm getting behind Derrick Henry here because it's the Jacksonville Jaguars and they've rebuilt their defense from scratch.
I could definitely get behind it. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars wake up and they call Derrick Henry their dad, right? Like he owns that. He owns that defense. I could definitely get behind it. But for me, it's smooth play, man. It's Joshua Kelly. Um, I think he is more than just a handcuff. I think he's a dynamic 1-2 punch, but I think he's going to eventually cut into a lot of carries. I don't think he's just a goal line banger. I think he is smooth, right? Like his handles suggests, man, he's smooth play. He
Yeah,
gained a
I
lot
mean,
of hype.
I feel bad for the people who went out there and spent a lot of their free agent blind bid dollars on Malcolm Brown if he wasn't already owned in their league, because I'm not sold that he's a number one there.
No,
But we will definitely see. What about wide receivers? Who you got for wide receivers?
I got the guy that I pegged as the wide receiver one this year, Devontae Adams. He's going up against the Lions. Uh, Aaron Rodgers just looks mad that they've drafted his replacement. He looks like he's going to show him that he's not going away. Devontae Adams looks like a man playing against high school boys out there at some points, man. And I think he's going to dominate that Lions secondary. I don't know how healthy they
Especially if
are.
if
Yeah.
Jeffrey Okuda's not there, like
Whew.
what do they have that they invested in him for a reason? Because they wanted
Absolutely.
him. And
Yeah.
they wanted him out there to be that CB1. And if he's not there, Tavante Adams, we saw him feast last week.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
He
can
looked like an alpha.
and
He
he is an alpha. He is a dog.
sure
He
did.
is somebody that you want to own. And I wish I had more shares. I think I have 0 Devontae Adams shares. And I feel
I,
so bad that I have no Adams shares whatsoever.
I just got offered in a league. It's a one quarterback league I co-own with a guy. We're in some desperate need of some running back, considering Marlon Mack went down and some other risky options. It was a keeper league, but he wanted us to send Melvin Gordon and Devontae Adams, and I think a third, and we would get Alvin Kamara,
Mm,
Mike Evans,
I
and I
love
think
me Alvin Kamara.
a ninth. But I rejected it because I just didn't want to do it. I want Devontae Adams. I am pumped about it.
For me, my wide receivers, it's Atlanta, man. They listen. I talked about how much I love Dak Prescott against that Atlanta defense. Well, for me, it's Ridley or it's Julio Jones. You saw them both last week. All three of them, Russell Gage, throw them in there. They were all wide receiver ones last week. Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Russell Gage. In that order, Gage was 11, and so they're all within that wide receiver one. Will that remain?
Gage was 11.
He was in PPR.
Wow. He supported three wide receiver ones week one.
He was supported through. Is it going to remain 100%?
No, absolutely not.
I
But that's
definitely don't see it, but it's impressive, is it not?
it's
And
very impressive. I
and
didn't think
when
he was the 11.
and when you look at Dallas, you got Trayvon Diggs and like a brand new secondary, essentially,
But you're
without
cheating
Byron
though.
Jones.
You're picking three.
Well, I'm more picking two. I'm not picking
You're
three. I
well, you're
wouldn't.
picking three. You just said three are wide receiver ones. You're giving like three gold stars out. So the entire wide
All
receiver.
gold stars to everybody. I don't care. But
Yeah.
man, you look at that. That's impressive what he did with Ridley. What he did with Julio was huge in the game. Ridley was massive in the touchdowns, and Russell Gage just feasted on every target that he got. So
Absolutely, you did.
for me, the Dallas, I don't trust that defense. I really don't. I think people will be shocked to see that Dallas will end up a subpar team. They're going to be an 8-8, maybe a 9-7 team because their defense is not that good, and their offense will go punch to punch with some teams, and they're not going to be able to keep up because their defense will not put them in good spots. And that's one of the big reasons for me. And that's why I trust the Atlanta receivers. And that's why I love Julio. And I will take Julio anywhere as I can get him, even though people are starting to think he's old. I will 100% take him anywheres.
I love Julio. I'm actually probably going to throw out a 21 first for him on a team that I need a wide receiver, but I'm pretty good everywhere else.
What about tight end? Who do you
I
got
want
for
you. I want you to do a tight end. Actually,
my gold tight end is Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron kind of disappointed in week one with Pittsburgh. And man, I know he's going to get there. I know he's going to come around. And the Broncos, without Von Miller, their linebackers look very weak. They look very different. It's a completely different defense without Von Miller there. And without Von Miller watching that middle, I think Eric Ebron finally feasts and finally emerges. I know. I get it, Juju. I get the Claypool. I get the hype around everybody else. But I'm definitely I'm in on Ebron. I think he's underrated, and I still think that there, based on the fact that there was no preseason, there's still some opportunity for Eric Ebron to emerge as the weeks continue to go on. We saw what he's capable of, and I'm definitely getting behind it. And against a team that doesn't really have much of a linebacking core, I'm getting behind that.
All right, well, I don't agree with it at all. Like you said, haha, Juju and Claypool and all the other weapons. I don't. That's those are my arguments. To it, it's not that Ebron's not a good tight end. I think he's a very good tight end. I think he's a good athlete. I just think he's not really ever panned out. And up until Indy, I don't think Detroit is really a good situation. It looks like for tight ends, running backs, wide receivers named Calvin Johnson or anybody really. Like I don't know, it just seems like a toxic environment. But
What
I
about
just
your
disagree.
tight end? Give me your tight end then,
Dallas Goddard,
and I can respect that because I love my Eagles tight ends.
and he's efficient. You throw him the ball, he catches the ball. Everyone says they were worried about Ertz staying. Even if Ertz did stay, I didn't see that as a problem for Dallas Goddard. I never saw a problem for a team that runs as much 12 personnel as Philly does. That Dallas Goddard has always been my argument for why I thought Irv Smith can be good, or why I still do. He's athletic. He's on a team that runs a massive amount of 12 personnel. I think they run the 1 and 2. I think they're the top two that run 12. Uh, the only difference is Philly has a guy with Dallas Goddard that has been a top three tight end, and in some circles still a top three tight end, depending on who you're asking. Irv Smith has a guy that's a red zone monster, and nobody apparently wants to touch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't see the big difference between Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz in throwing capability and arm talent. I actually think Kirk Cousins is a better decision maker with the ball in his hands.
I can get behind that after watching last week's game.
um, but yeah, it's Dallas Goddard. He's efficient. This week one, 8 for 9, 101 and a TD. Uh, Contract negotiations have broke off. This is just for dynasty purposes with apparently Ertz. I'd be overpaying for Goddard as much as I can. And this isn't like he doesn't do this. The last game he played for you for fantasy purposes uh, was the fantasy championship, and I think he went 9 for 12 for 91 and a touchdown. He's efficient. He catches balls that are
Mm-hmm.
thrown his way. Uh, and even going into last Sunday, somebody asked me Goddard or Janu, and they said they're worried about being capped by Ertz, and I said you shouldn't be. I go, they can both finish top 12, both finish top five, really, on any given play. They can both get touchdowns. They both did. They can both get like 60, 70 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unfeasible to think that, especially in Philly. Uh, I love Rieger. You love Hightower, and I'm liking them too. But they are rookies. They are rookies. Uh, so like I said,
And it still showed last week that clearly Carson Wentz still loves his tight ends. At the end of the day,
it's a
he still
comfort.
really likes his tight ends. It's and especially without like a guy like Miles Sanders. Big
Yeah, absolutely.
opportunity there for the tight ends. And I think he's going to continue to look their direction 100%. Um, let's flip to the fool's gold side. We'll flip it and we'll do the tight end first. I'm going with Jared Cook. I know that people are all hyped about the Michael Thomas situation, but man, listen, the Vegas Raiders linebackers are not something to mess with. Nick Kwiatkowski's still going to be in the lineup, and that defense looked so different. Nick Kwiatkowski in there, and Nick Kwiatkowski when he got injured and he was not there. So I think if he's healthy and he's staying out there, I think that those linebackers are going to really shut down Jared Cook, and I think it becomes a game of Emmanuel Sanders, Traquan Smith, and Alvin Kamara versus Jared Cook being involved as much as people might think. So that's my fool's gold.
I get behind it. He's a well known name. He's produced. Um, he's produced big too in clutch situations. So I can see people chasing that former glory. similar situation for me. People probably might be scrambling for a tight end with Blake Jarwin going down, and they might have scoured the waiver and seen a guy named Jimmy Graham on there and think, hey, didn't look too bad last week. Well, actually, he did. He only had 25 yards and a touchdown saved him. But you're probably thinking like Allen Robinson's upset, wants a contract extension that broke down. Apparently, requested a trade. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Um, what's his name? Anthony Miller looks good. But you're probably thinking you're scrambling. Jimmy Graham's on there. It's probably Jimmy Graham, CJ Uzma, and you're probably going to try to chase Jimmy Graham because, well, who wants to play that Thursday night risk, right? And then sit there possibly with a goose egg Friday and Saturday while your opponent sits there gloating on you with those mascots. You know.
Throwing shade at the sleeper leagues. I like it.
Oh man, yeah. So you never know. That's just me,
Yeah,
Jimmy Graham.
my fool's gold wide receivers, and I hate to say it because I love me some DJ Moore, but it's going to be DJ Moore, and I'll even throw Anderson in there because that Bucks defense. Look at that Bucks defense against Michael Thomas, Emmanuel
Injured Michael,
Sanders.
injured Michael
It
Thomas.
doesn't matter. My injured Michael Thomas is still better than half the wide 3/4 of the wide receivers in the league. So like, and he had Emmanuel Sanders there. He had Traquan Smith. He had other options, and the Buccaneers shut them down. And I'm not prepared to get behind DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, despite the big Robbie Anderson game that people are buying into on the waiver wire. Just not prepared to do it. Guessing you were one of them.
I buy one league. I might have spent like 30% of the fab on him. And you're the whitey. What do you want, man? Yeah, for me, it pains me to say it because it's a Chief, and I like him in real life. Good player. But I've seen this opening act from him before, and I will not be fooled. Maybe some will, but I will not be. It's Sammy Watkins. It's the Lizard King. Like I said, I've seen it. I've seen it before. And the problem isn't Sammy with this. The problem is you tell me outside of Hill and Kelsey, and maybe now CEH, never know. It's late boxes. I hate that argument. Well, he sees late boxes. Blah, blah, blah. Of course he sees late boxes. It's Pat Mahomes. You tell me it could be any given week. It could be a Denard Robinson week. It could be a Mecole Hardman week. It could be a Sammy Watkins week. Like it's literally a dart throw on who else is going to light it up. You know, somebody else is going to get some sort of fantasy relevance outside of Hill and Kelsey. You just
It was almost
it's
a Robinson week just as much last week if it wasn't for that
it
first
would have been a
quarter.
Robinson week if he would have caught the first one. And then it would have turned into a Robinson week instead of a Watkins week because he would have kept going to Robinson.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with that. I can definitely see that, especially the Watkins thing. Sammy Watkins is inconsistent there since he's been there,
They
but
all
so is
are.
anyone.
It's nothing against Watkins' skill set. It's nothing against Robinson's. It's literally there's too many options on there outside of the Alpha Hill and an Alpha Travis Kelsey to pick your poison on the wide receiver 3. He has a plethora. He can spread it out. It's unbelievable. Okay, now you're going to try to shut down Watkins this week because trust me, they're going to be looking at him. Now, I'd be throwing a dart at Robinson this week, to be honest with you. If you can't have Hill and Kelsey, that would be me.
Definitely.
Pivot it.
Yeah, and you see that's one of the things that Patty Mahomes is really good at. He does pivot to the next guy each week. We saw Robinson weeks and we saw Watkins weeks last season, but
Yep.
we always saw that consistency with Hill and Kelsey and maybe CEH this year. Like you said, you never know. Maybe that consistency comes from 3 different ways, and then you have that other guy that you have to turn to once in a while who booms and makes
Yep.
that play and then disappears for a couple weeks. So I can definitely see it there.
Who do you have at running back?
Running backs for me is, and listen, for me, it's Kenyon Drake in Arizona because I watched that Washington line feast. I told countless people on Twitter, do not start Boston Scott. You are not doing your proper research. Our line is depleted. That line is being severely underrated. This is a top 10, maybe even a top 5 front four in Washington, and people are severely underrating them. And then you tag in that you have Isaiah Simmons there, so people are like, well, maybe Kenyon Drake will go to the pass game. Well, there's Isaiah Simmons there. There's still pieces there. There's Buda Baker as a safety. There's still pieces there that can stop the pass game in the middle just as much. So for me, I'm staying far away from the running backs in Arizona for that reason.
I can get behind it. I also like the usage that Chase Edmonds was looking at early. I think he might have a role going forward more than a little bit of a handcuff. I mean, maybe flex play weekly. For me, it's guys. I see this a lot. They go chasing touchdown upside from week one. They see a guy do it and they go chasing after him. So for me, it's Peyton Barber. I think a lot of guys are gonna see that he got the goal line usage. Say, hey, I guess if it wasn't Bryce Love's turn and it wasn't Antonio Gibson, it's got to be Peyton, right? So
And I saw some big money spent on him too.
yeah, absolutely, probably because people chase the touchdown upside, looking for it the next week. I think that's going to happen a lot for Peyton. I think it's going to happen a lot for Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, no, I can definitely get behind that. And my quarterback to wrap up these guys is going to be Deshaun Watson, and I really hate to say Deshaun Watson in this situation, but we just alluded to the Ravens defense a bit earlier in the episode, and that Ravens defense is scary. And so for me, Deshaun Watson is probably fool's gold. It's probably people are playing him because, it's Deshaun Watson. It's that top 5 QB who you can always lean on and you can always trust. And I would probably look away from him in this situation because of that Ravens defense.
So I'm probably going to eat crow on this one, but it is it's Josh Allen, man. He relies too much on his legs. He's wildly inaccurate, too inaccurate for me. I watched him miss a wide open touchdown pass to Dawson Knox. I like by 3-4 yards. I watched him miss another one to Diggs. Yeah, they beat the Jets, and I know they're playing the Dolphins, and I know it's a division, and it's great. Yeah, you won a division game. I mean, I know you won 27-17. Because there's a lot of Bills Mafia probably going to chirp at me. But you were also up 21-0 and then didn't score a touchdown in the second half. You had to settle for 2 field goals as a Bills offense. Yeah, I think he just relies too much on his legs. I don't think you're going to see 46 pass attempts either, to be honest with you. Like last week, you had 46 pass attempts. I don't think you're going to see that weekly. Definitely don't think you're going to see that this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to look at box scores. I think you're going to look at the fact that he rushed a touchdown through, I think, 2? And I mean, he should have thrown 4. Should have easily thrown 4 touchdowns, but whatever.
And
That's
I think
just
the John Brown injury or potential injury really hurts him as well
I
because
love John
I
Brown
mean
too.
you lose weapons that way. If John Brown's out, then your next best bet is Cole Beasley and stuff. So I mean, you're looking at a fire. I would take a Brown to a Beasley any day. So yeah, I definitely and I just realized I definitely helped your point on the Washington end because I started naming the Arizona defense
I
versus
sure did.
yeah.
You sure
So
did.
just saying, I did realize I messed that
Yeah,
up, but I did
yeah, I
help you
noticed.
with the Peyton Barber and the Antonio Gibson
I
and
I
stuff.
noticed. You mentioned Buda Baker, and
You should have called
uh,
me out. You should have called me
I
out.
was like, all right, that's fine.
But
All
yeah,
right,
so
man.
so this is a preview to get you ready because next week we are returning. Hopefully, unless you like sold your house and you have to get out like ASAP, then maybe we may have to reschedule again.
I like selling the house fast.
But this is definitely a preview. We got another one. It's tips for chips, or is that what it is? Tips for
No,
chips.
it's tips for ships, man. You don't
Tips
raise
for chips.
chips, you raise ships.
Tips for chips.
Jesus Christ.
And then we got Gold and Fool's Gold, and we're gonna break down like each matchup, and we're gonna bring our monkey knife fight to every episode every podcast that we do each week. So we got a lot of fun each week.
Yeah,
So
man,
I
I liked it.
cannot wait. I know this was a mini episode, but it's just a small preview of what you can expect on every given week from the Gold Jacket podcast.
Yeah, I love it, man. So thank you guys all for joining us on the Gold Jacket podcast. Again, we are a proud partner of the True North Fantasy Network. On Twitter, you can check them out at True North FFB, and on YouTube at the TNFF Network. And you can find all the teams' rankings, articles, gear, and a lot more online at truenorthffb.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Gold Jacket QBs. And you can find Connor. Tell him where you can find you.
You can find me at Connor10TEN on Twitter.
I love it, man. Until next week. See you guys later.